Welcome to the ARWo 2021. We are glad that you joined us here in this live stream. I'm Sarah, this is Niels, and we will be leading you through this evening. Just some information about us. We were both in e-gnition Hamburg for some time, and we're both involved in the past ARWos. And yes, we will be leading you through this digital ARWo. Maybe at the beginning, let's talk a bit about what is the ARWo actually, for those who don't know.
Yeah, right. So the ARWo is a conference which is held usually in February, and it's 3 ARWos have been in the past, so for the last 3 years. And last year was by far the biggest ARWo with 44 teams and 200 guests from all over Europe, basically. And yeah, the ARWo was founded back in 2018 after the first Formula Student Driverless season. And really the idea was to connect the driverless people, connect the driverless community, and really boost the overall knowledge in the competition to make faster cars, of course. This year, unfortunately, there will be no ARWo conference, so no gathering in Hamburg, for obvious reasons, I think. So, but still, we figure out that we need to do something, just because in summer there were no events at all. So the last year was pretty much, no Formula Student happenings. And the last real gathering for all the driverless people, the driverless community, was really 1 year ago at the last ARWo, which was in February 2020. So there is something missing. So talking to all the other students, exchanging ideas with them, and getting really the feeling of the Formula Student spirit, all of this was missing in the last year. And this is what we are trying to convey a little bit with this event. So this ARWo is a little bit different from what we usually do. And we will be doing a live stream around 90 minutes. And in the past, there were a lot of good technical events. So, for example, the FSG Academy, which really focused on the technical aspects of Formula Student Driverless. There were a lot of talks online. But today we're focusing a little bit different and really trying to convey this Formula Student spirit to all of you at home. And we've invited a couple of teams to join us today and really discuss their experiences, which they've had in the last year or the last couple of months, and provide a little bit of a behind-the-scenes insights which you normally won't see. So all those things like how they are organizing themselves, and also have a little insight in their workshops and how their cars are doing. And in addition, we have also some industry experts invited who are telling us a little bit how they've handled the situation in the last year and what changed for them. And additionally, we also got someone from Formula Student Germany to discuss a little bit about the upcoming event season, which will be kind of interesting, of course, in the current situation. So grab yourself a drink or something to eat, some snacks, and really enjoy an evening of Formula Student content. So be aware everything is live, what we're doing right now with all the teams connected. So fingers crossed, everything runs smoothly. We've got quite a big setup, so fingers crossed we can do it. So when watching the stream, make sure you stick to your local regulations, so your COVID regulations, no gatherings, but I think you all know that. And Sarah and I have all both been tested negative for COVID twice this week, so this is why we can do it without masks safely.
Yes. So talking about this ARWo spirit, we kind of want to keep it alive, even though we can't meet in person. That's why we want you to use social media. So show us on Instagram how you're watching the ARWo. So use the hashtag ARWo 2021. And if you're doing it in a story, please tag e-gnition Hamburg. Also, we kind of have a small prize for the nicest photo of you guys watching us. So we'd be happy if you win it. And also we have Discord as a communication platform where you can ask some questions and they will be answered in the Q&A session at the end. So I think this was a lot for the introduction. Let's join to the teams.
So as I said, last year was certainly difficult for everyone. So probably everyone was a little bit overwhelmed by the situation and by the circumstance and how fast everything occurred. And especially in March during the first lockdown, nobody really knew how to deal with the situation. And now we invited the guys from Augsburg to us to talk a little bit how they've experienced the last year. So I think we're connected to them now. Can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Perfect. So maybe you can introduce yourselves a little bit first.
Hello. My name is Ivo. I'm basically team member of from Augsburg since 2 years, and I was doing software development lead yeah, mainly developing software for the object detection and path planning.
My name's Nico. I'm the current project lead of this year's driverless vehicle.
Okay, cool. So maybe you can talk a little bit. How did COVID influence your last season? So I assume not everything went according to plans. So what happened, and how did your project plan change in the last year?
Yeah, the biggest influence COVID had on our project plan, of course, was at first that we had to stop working on the car. We couldn't finish the car as soon as we had to close the workshop. So in this case, the project plan didn't really change. It was just delayed for the unknown time. And in our case, was delayed for about 2 months till May, as we could get back to our workshop. But one other big influence this whole lockdown and COVID situation had for us was that we could spend more time in development, in the development of the software and in testing the software. But ARWo can tell you more about that.
Yeah, exactly. So we did plan basically to finish some tasks to improve the software in specific aspects since basically the end of the events in 2019, and we just pursued our plan. We just stick to the tasks which we had planned and develop the software further. We didn't know how we can basically test and when we can test the vehicle again, but yeah, it was the motivation was still there.
Okay, so but what did you actually do when suddenly everything was closed in March? What happened then?
It's kind of funny. So every team member that was currently working on a component and that could possibly finish their component at their homes started to pack all the stuff they needed. For example, the electronics department packed their PCBs, their solder irons, etc., the whole components they needed, and finished all the PCBs or nearly all the PCBs at their homes. And this was also the case in our aerodynamic department. So the aerodynamic lead just packed all the raw materials needed for his aerodynamic package, such as the raw CFRP plates, his hard points, and a lot of glue, and finished nearly a whole aerodynamic package in his basement. And also we were in the middle of our monocoque building phase of the new EV vehicle. And since we used pre-preg and couldn't go to the autoclave for a final step of finishing the monocoque, so we had to freeze it again. And luckily, one of our team members' parents owned a restaurant which was also closed during that time, and we could freeze the monocoque in their huge freezer in the basement.
Very nice indeed. So you have to get the right ideas. But how long is it kind of you had to change to working digitally completely? How long did it take to kind of build a routine for that?
For all the guys that are working directly on the car was kind of difficult. At first, we tried Discord, which wasn't that great of a choice because not everyone in the meeting could watch the stream of the agenda, and therefore we soon discovered Zoom and used it since then. For the huge team meetings with around 20 or 30 plus team members, these are held in Zoom, and for working in smaller groups, we got our Discord channel and they work there.
Okay. So I've heard that in summer, when everything was relaxing a little bit in Germany in terms of COVID situation, you actually got some testing done with the new car. So how did you manage to organize this, and really was testing helpful to keep up the motivation in summer if there were no other Formula Student events?
The way we managed that was following strict hygiene restrictions, and also the German government's restrictions had to allow it. So we were only allowed to go to the workshop, wearing a mask, keeping the distances, etc., as you all know. And for going on the test track, the owners of the test track only allowed us to if we follow the hygiene concept. such as, again, keeping distances, wearing a mask if you can't keep the distance, and always have sanitizer with you, and keep a list of attendees, which everyone had to sign. So in case of a COVID-19 case, we can retrack that and inform everyone who might be in danger. So yeah, and I think for motivation, Ivo can tell you something.
Yeah, exactly. We did, our main motivation was basically, yeah, there was of course one event, online event, the FS Online event, but we didn't participate in that. So our motivation was to do our rolling rollouts, where we present the new driverless car. This was in October, and so we prepared the car for this kind of autonomous driving. And yeah, so the motivation to be able to finish the car until the state originated from this event, and yeah, it was basically planned what needs to be improved, and so yeah, there wasn't an issue with motivation.
Okay, so I've heard that your 2021 car is like kind of mechanically finished right now, and I've seen you registered for FS East. So maybe you can show us around a little bit in your workshop and show us the car.
Of course, 1 second.
Perfect.
So let's go around. First of all, we're currently in a small office in our workshop, and if we go out, you just instantly can see our manufacturing area with 3 milling machines. And yeah, continuing furthermore into the workshop, you can see here our new EV vehicle for this season, and right around here there's the social area where you can have something to drink or food when it's allowed to. To our right, we got the electronics department. Yeah, but let's continue to the most interesting part, this year's driverless vehicle. And Ivo will tell you something about our new sensor setup and everything.
Yeah, right. So we got basically a pretty similar setup for the LiDAR sensor compared to the last year's car. Yeah, we have a new LiDAR sensor. This time a Hesai 40 scan line spinning LiDAR. Yeah, it's mounted about the same height on the front wing. Yeah, it's one single LiDAR. And it's got the camera system. We have changed a bit the camera system this year. We mounted two Basler industry cameras in a mono setup, just to have a wider field of view. Yeah, resolutions like 1600 to 1200, and yeah, USB 3 cameras works quite nice in our setup. Also, we have the PC which we use is not here, but because we use it in the for hardware in the loop testing, it's in one of our team members' homes. But yeah, its place would be here in front of the car.
Just right there under the seat.
Yeah, exactly. It's a commercial mini gaming PC. It has a RTX 2070 GPU, on which we run the neural network for the cone detection on the camera. And yeah, that's about the sensor setup, I think, for the object detection.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much for showing us this kind of an insight. So, and an insight to your workshop as well. So, quite a big room, I think. And yeah, so please stay connected with us. So if there are any questions for the guys from Augsburg, please tell them in the Discord or ask them in the Discord channel, and then we will try to wrap up afterwards and do a little Q&A session with them. So yeah, guys, see you then later on to the Q&A session, right?
See you later.
See you.
Bye.
Okay, so Quite an impressive workshop, right?
Yes, indeed.
Much bigger than most teams I have.
Yeah, I guess so too. So now we're going to switch to a different team who was even more affected by the restrictions due to the COVID pandemic. It's NTNU from Trondheim in Norway. They are a pretty experienced driverless team. They're in their third driverless season. And yes, so in Norway, COVID restrictions were pretty hard. So let's see how they experienced the year. Hi, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. So maybe introduce yourselves at the beginning so we know who we're talking to.
Sure. My name is Johan. I'm the Chief Driverless Engineer in ARWo. And with me I have...
My name is Brage. I work on the autonomous software this year.
Yes, so hi. And first of all, I already said that you had pretty strong restrictions. Can you maybe tell us how your summer went, when you were able to be in the workshop and whether testing was possible and so on?
Yeah, sure. So I think like everyone, we were pretty strongly impacted by everything from the shutdown started basically in Europe. So we lost access start of March, and then from March until basically the beginning of autumn, we were like every week hoping we might be able to get back in to start some testing. But we realized that we had to do what we can from home. So we were working as good as we could from home, doing what we could with simulation and basically preparing for the testing. But when everything closed, we were in the middle of some big changes on the vehicle. So when we got back in the workshop in August, we still had lots to do to be able to get the vehicle out and start to test. So before the Christmas, we got to test, which was really, really great.
Yeah, so it seems like you had a lot of time working from home. How did you manage to stay productive, and what did you actually focus during that time? On what did you focus on during that time?
Yeah, so working from home was a pretty new thing for us, I guess. But we did the best we could. Started to use some new tools, and when things closed the first time, we were basically all using Discord, trying to work on the concepts we could from home. And then things closed again now recently. So Brage might be able to tell you how we've been working nowadays.
Yeah, a lot the first half year we worked a lot on the workflow and in the software production. And something that helped us a lot was having clear goals, or smaller clear goals, and that way it was easier to check off different goals and give different tasks to different people when working from home. We used GitKraken for that. It was a useful tool and had good integration with Git and pull requests, and it made for a very good workflow for our group, at least.
Yeah, and so Brage is working on the software parts, and the software teams are really lucky because they're able to do a lot from home. And then we have our mechatronics group, which is responsible for the hardware, and they're not as lucky, so they need access to the car, and working from home is much more difficult.
Yeah, so it seems you've been really productive throughout all this time. Was it normal for you guys to work from home, or was it like a completely different thing for you?
I think for Revolve, working from home has never been a thing before COVID. Being in the workshop and working in the office is kind of in our DNA, and we try to do that as much as possible and work physically. But then we're learning now that working from home can be really valuable as well. And I think when we have the right balance, when we have some access to the workshop and some collaborative time face to face, and then some digitally. I think that's really useful, and I predict we will continue to do at least some part digital for a long time, even after COVID.
Yeah, so it seems like you actually learned a lot out of this time. Did you have any strategies to accomplish as much as you can, or did you more or less just let the year go and see what happens?
I think as things closed, it was much more difficult to keep the team together, as everyone were basically motivated by the competition. So we started pretty early on realizing that when there was no competition in 2020, we need to work for the 2021 season. So we started working on concepts for that really early. And then I think in general, we're more focused on the technology instead of the competition right now, because that's really motivating everyone to basically push the technology, and then the competition might be, a nice thing to have in addition. Maybe.
Yeah. As a team member, one of the main reasons I started doing Formula Student, this is my first year doing this. It's working with the technology, and it's a very unique experience to be able to make, at least here in Norway, driverless cars. It's a really unique opportunity, and that's a motivating factor for many people here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as I know, it takes a lot of time to develop new technologies, or you sometimes get stuck. How did you motivate your team? As normally you maybe grab a beer and sit down together, but now this isn't possible. How did you guys stay motivated to achieve all your progress?
Yeah, a much less social time, and I think the social aspects are maybe the most important when you're working as a team. So that's been maybe the most challenging part right now. Often there's like collective game nights over Discord. Among Us has been played quite a bit, and then when the groups can meet up together, like a few people at a time, that's also really, really nice, because we need to see each other sometimes still.
Yeah. So I heard, it worked actually quite well at motivating your team. Your car is getting assembled right now. So can you maybe show us a bit around in your workshop, and maybe also the car?
Sure. We have two members of the mechatronics team, which are going to show you guys around. I'll hand you over to Nikolai.
Hello, my name is Nikolai. I'm the mechanical engineer and have responsibilities in CAD and production.
Hi, my name is Jarl. I'm responsible for the wire harness and accumulator of the car.
So we are going to show you the offices and our workshop now. Here we have a simulator where the drivers can practice before competition and before we get a test-ready car. For their own, we got a soldier lab where we produce credits card. And in here we have two people working on the inverter. And here we have our cars, the 2019 electric vehicle over here, and our driverless vehicle here.
Yeah, so this is Atmos, the driverless vehicle that we have. Right now, we are working, or at least I'm working, mainly on redoing most of the wire harness and fixing it up. So right now we're working on the whole canvas system, our attractive system, everything. So we can show you up here. We have the technology that we use for the driverless car. We have a LiDAR up here. Right now it's mostly about getting the car ready.
Yeah, so we have quite a lot of people running around in the background. So I think you're getting there soon.
Yeah,
we're working very hard.
Yeah, go on.
One of our projects was to relocate the processing unit. So our main goal is to get it inside the site code. So a lot of work is going to reroute the wire harness for the new location. Yes.
So I hope everything is going well for you guys then, and everything will be ready for the events in summer. Yeah, thank you for showing us around, and yeah, stay connected until the end. There will probably be some questions for you guys as well in the Q&A. So yeah, thank you and see you later.
Yeah, goodbye. We hope we can see you.
Yeah, so, well, they have quite an impressive workshop as well, and nearly finished car, so it's going quite well.
Now, a little bit different topic. So COVID, of course, had quite a huge impact to the teams. So workshops were closed, offices were shut down, and most teams are really working groups at universities or clubs in Germany. But however, companies, of course, have kind of the same problems, and we thought it might be interesting to have a little bit broader view and have a look at a slightly larger company and the reactions to COVID. And by a slightly larger company, I mean one of the biggest in the world. So we are very glad that Volkswagen is supporting us at the ARWo since the very first ARWo, since the beginning. And this year they continue to support us. And now we have Constanze from Volkswagen with us, right? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. So maybe you can introduce yourselves a little bit.
Okay, sure. Hi, my name is Constanze. I started with my studies with my bachelor degrees in mathematics, but that was very theoretical. So I decided to switch in my master's degree to an engineering course that was like application oriented more. And there I studied information system technology. And as part of this course, I had to do an internship. And so I decided to do that at the Volkswagen Group Research because I was allowed there to deal with the influence of position errors in car-to-car communication, which was a very perfect mix of mathematics and application, so both of my studies. And this then gave the rise to the topic of my master's thesis, which I also did at Volkswagen, which was about an error propagation model for position errors in car-to-car communication as well. And after my successful finish of the master's, I got an offer to write my doctoral thesis at Volkswagen. And this was about the localization of autonomous vehicles. And what I did there exactly was like I developed a procedure to detect non-semantic patterns in LiDAR data with a high scenery coverage. And I demonstrated in my PhD the usefulness of this non-semantic approach. And yeah, my contract was due last October from my PhD, and since then I'm working as a full-time employee at Volkswagen. And now my role in the department has changed from research to bringing an autonomous vehicle out to a series product and like an automated shuttle. And so my topic changed as well. And instead of taking care of localization, I'm now working on the insurance of the behavioral safety of autonomous vehicles. Yeah.
So you did quite a lot of research at Volkswagen, I think. And of course, LiDAR-based localization should sound familiar to most of the Formula Student teams, I think. Or most of the teams actually use it. Do you think the strategies or what you were doing is comparable to what happens in the Formula Students? So were you facing the same challenges back then?
Yeah, I guess so. I heard that you use kind of a similar approach as we do. Our localization is a map-based positioning system. But we're not focusing on like formula types, but we want to localize and drive in cities, like in structured environment. So our localization focuses on detecting semantic landmarks. Well, not in my PhD, but what we do in the vehicle itself. We detect those semantic landmarks, which can be poles or road markings, house corners, and stuff like that. And we label that. We do that offline to build an offline map. And we do that online in the vehicle, and then we use both data and match them, and that's how we localize. And if I sent you some figures, if you can put up the first figure I sent you, yeah, there you can see in the upper picture the point cloud which we use to generate the map with. So it's very dense and it's globally referenced, as we want to position the vehicle globally. And map relative, we want to have a global position, because if we want to share the position via car-to-car communication, for example, we want to have a globally referenced position so that other vehicles are able to interpret the position. And if it was only map relative, it would be very hard if someone else or another car manufacturer would use another map or another map reference. It would be hard to use this not globally referenced position. So we definitely want a global position, and we also want to use a map relative position for the trajectory planning. We also use a lot of map information, like is this a solid line or is this a dashed line? So this is what we get from the localization. And in the upper picture, you see how the map point cloud, which we use to generate the map. And in the lower picture, you see the onboard LiDAR data, which we use to detect those landmarks like house corners on board the vehicle. So it's quite a difficult task to detect the same things in this dense point cloud and in this sparse point cloud. Yeah, and if you could put up the second figure, that would be really great. Thanks. Okay. I've heard that you use a graph-based approach, or some of the teams use a graph-based approach for localization, and that's what we do as well. And that's what you see right here. It's a factor graph-based approach for the actual localization, because after the detection of the landmarks, we put those robust detections into a factor graph, and by optimizing this graph, you get the most likely position of the vehicle. And together with the landmarks and GPS information and odometry information and the map information, you get the position of the vehicle and a factor graph like this. So yeah, that's how our approach works. And our main challenges are like the real-time capability, which I guess is a huge challenge for you as well, as you're driving quite fast with your vehicles. And this is also for us a problem. So we use a sliding window graph-based approach to limit the length of the graph. So it's quicker to optimize the graph. And yeah, and additionally, a major problem is that the map, as I told you, is like pre-built from this dense point clouds. And especially when thinking of safety issues, problems come up like, do we trust this map? And is the map up to date? So we have to figure out how to keep the map up to date. This could be, for example, via fleet data, but then we have to check this fleet data and how accurate is the fleet data with those kinds of production type sensors and stuff like that. That's our main issue when programming and talking about the localization.
Okay, I've heard quite some familiar problems, I think. So you're dealing with the same issues mainly. So usually probably you sit in office and research and work, and probably also go out for real world testing with the car at Volkswagen. So when everything is closed, you're probably in home office most of the time. So how does this work out for you?
Yeah, home office has its pros and cons. As the Volkswagen factory itself is located in Wolfsburg, but many people don't live at Wolfsburg, as I do. Commuting is no longer necessary, which is very great. A lot of time is saved by that, and especially I can sleep longer in the morning. And I also like to go jogging, which is great in the lunch break, and now possible as well. But all meetings are now online. For us, that works out really great, and the communication works out very good as well. We usually have to book rooms for the meetings. We have to switch rooms between meetings. And this also saves a lot of time because we're just online and have to click some buttons. And yeah, we still have to do test drives like you do. But I think for us, it was a bit less complicated to do them because we're such a large company and everyone wants to help us in the development. And that's why we're very quickly still possible to do those test drives, and we're allowed to do them. We had to follow the COVID rules as well. So hand washing before, during the test drives, wearing masks, and additionally there was a plastic pane between the both front seats. So we were able to sit in the vehicle as well. So that was our solution for that. And we are still allowed to go into the office for activities that can only be carried out on site. But we have to passively approve that by our department manager. Yeah, I think that's about it.
So social distancing in the car, right? So,
Yeah.
but kind of how does like the exchange with your colleagues work? So we know we are most of the viewers will be engineers, so they know that the best ideas are created at the coffee machine in the breaks. So all of this is missing now when everybody's sitting home. So do you have any tips for exchanging ideas with your colleagues?
Yeah, we try to work alongside the Scrum approach. I don't know whether you heard about that. Yeah, okay. We have every morning we start with the working day with a daily meeting, updating our colleagues from the team what we are currently doing. Once a week we have a meeting presenting the technical details. And besides from that, in the online meetings, we also sometimes focus on the social parts, like talking a bit what's up at home office and private stuff. Or we are working a lot with Microsoft Teams, and the chatting tool there is very cool. So, or sending gifts and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, so many teams have also reported to us that it's kind of difficult for them to create this kind of sense of team spirit because the students never see each other. So how does Volkswagen ensure that the colleagues are just not like only small pictures on the screen during the meeting?
Yeah, we organized some team events in the summer. For example, the COVID rules were not that strict, so we were able to meet outside after work, and we sat together. In Brunswick, we have this city beach, and we met there and had some drinks. And yeah, I organized, for example, a little online Christmas party. Yeah, that worked out very good as well, where we solved such an escape room. Usually you do that in a real room. I don't know whether you all know about this, but that we made that online. There are some websites where you can book some escape rooms online, and everyone had some cookies and teas, and everyone left the camera on, which is very important, I guess, so that one can see each other. And yeah, that idea was so well received, this online escape room, that we also played an online escape room with the whole department. And yeah, it worked out really great. And yeah, home office isn't that bad for us, I guess.
So maybe an idea for some teams as well. So yeah, Konstantin, thank you so much for joining us today. If there are any questions for you, I think will be not joining the Q&A session afterwards, but we have your email address, should be visible on stream right now. So if there are any questions for you, you can just ask them per email, I guess, and you will be answering them if there are not hundreds of those, probably. So yeah.
Yeah, feel free to send me emails. I'm very welcome to ask you. And if you're looking for an internship, you can send me emails as well.
Okay, perfect. So you know how to contact Volkswagen now. So yes, thank you so much and have a good day and see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. So kind of the same problems for big companies as well as for the teams, at least similar problems, I think.
Yes, so maybe it's kind of interesting to talk with a team who's more used to this digital working. So for those who maybe do not know the team, we're talking about GFR. And yeah, I think it's quite interesting for everyone to know how they are normally working. So yeah, I think we should be connected to them. Hi to the US. Can you hear us?
Hello. Hello. Yep.
Perfect. So yeah, maybe introduce yourself and also tell us what is so special about GFR. What is different to other teams?
So the big difference is that GFR is an international collaboration, which means our team is split up between one school here, Oregon State University in the U.S., and DHBW Ravensburg in Germany. So we have people working on both sides of the globe, basically at all times of the day. And that, makes it pretty interesting compared to other teams. I'm Kyle. I'm a third year on the team. I'm the driverless tech lead and do the system design for driverless.
And I'm Connor. It's my third year on the team as well. I do all the software for the driverless system, as well as all the electronics as well.
Yeah, so how do you normally organize your teamwork? Since, working on 2 continents, it seems kind of hard, as we maybe also struggle here, all working at one place, and you have to organize work on 2 continents.
So we try to make sure that we keep equal leadership on both sides in both universities. So we have equal responsibilities on both sides to make sure everything's balanced. And then likewise on the projects we have for our team, we make sure that we cover all the projects on both sides pretty relatively similarly. So like we have people working on SLAM for the driverless car on both sides. We have 2 people on each side, I think.
That kind of lets us get to a faster development cycle, I'd say, almost, especially with software. Essentially, when the US side goes to bed and pushes their code, the German side is waking up and it's ready to start again. So it gets us on almost like a 24/7 development cycle when it all works out. So it actually, I would say, is slightly beneficial, very beneficial. And then I guess the other big thing is the majority of our team is what's called capstone or Student Arbeitschreiber. I can't say that word, but what it ends up meaning is about 80% of our team is they start a year, they have no experience, they're here for 9 months, and then they're gone after 9 months, and we kind of never see them again. Most of the team is not here for multiple years, and we have a super high turnover rate.
So it seems that you normally organize it very well, and everything seems to work if you organize it good. And you can actually have like a 24/7 work time, which every team here dreams about. So how did COVID maybe influence your working in a way, even though you're already used to working online maybe?
So when COVID happened, we got hit in, I think, beginning of April at OSU, and we lost top access pretty quickly when the lockdown started. And so our 2020 vehicles were not able to be finished. We were like halfway through our first chassis when our shops got locked out. And we were building 2 new cars, one for the US side, one for the German side, for both driven and driverless. So we weren't able to finish our new driverless vehicle when we got locked out. And we were actually locked out of our shops for about 6 months in the US. We didn't get back in until September. And I think that in Germany, they got locked out for, I think, 3 to 4 months. And then they also have been locked out in the past months as well. They haven't been able to get back into their shops.
We ended up having a ton of supply chain issues, as I'm sure everybody else did too. Our battery cells were coming from China, and that got stopped for 7-8 months. Took a long time to get our battery cells. IC shortages are causing problems everywhere. All of our PCBs are missing parts that you can't buy. We couldn't get new carbon fiber really this season, which meant that we had to kind of just rely on existing stock, which is depleting very quickly. I'm sure everybody has this, but it just threw a monkey wrench into the whole supply chain and kind of just scrambling to cover that up.
And then our new 2021 cars, we're just continuing our 2020 design and just finishing the cars we started last year. But the issue is everyone who designed these cars last year, most of them have moved on from the team. We have a brand new set of people working on the cars that they didn't design and trying to make sure the systems are working and finding issues we didn't realize, and they don't know where those issues came from.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of problems the European teams faced as well. As you already told us, it can be difficult organizing a team on 2 continents. especially you have a huge time zone difference. For working 24/7, it's quite good, but for creating a team spirit, it seems kind of hard. How do you get your team sticking together so everyone is motivated? Because on the events you always seem pretty close. How do you do that?
So a big thing, I'd say it really splits into two parts, which is like technical organization and team spirit. For technical organization, we've just kind of gotten really used to using email chains for everything. Don't make it a meeting if it doesn't have to be. It works really well for us too, because emails can be answered asynchronously. So you can just log on whenever you have time and get stuff done. And then we also have several series of meetings, a high-level team leadership planning meeting, international sub-team meeting, and then kind of on the individual side, the German and American students that are working on the same project will kind of just meet up on their own without anybody sub-team or leadership involved with them. So you get a really good bond between the two students on either side that are working on the same project, because they're just always video calling and talking to each other. And then you get a good bond in your sub-team, because we have, these weekly meetings where we kind of like people to have their camera on even before COVID, so we can see what the Germans look like and they can see what we will look like. And then we do every once in a while kind of do kind of team level stuff, or what is the word? Recreational stuff. There's a Among Us Discord that we have and sometimes play within the team. So little fun stuff like that when we can.
Yeah, so it sounds a bit like the things we try to do during this summer. Picking up on the topic meetings, we all quite experienced that online meetings seem to take forever, and in the end we don't get the same result as meeting in person. Do you maybe have some tips for the other teams how to organize an online meeting to be more efficient and have a good outcome?
So like Kyle already said, we start with email threads. So 80% of our questions can usually be answered from an email thread. So we try to get everything answered there first that we can. And then once we do have meetings, we make sure we have an agenda and we follow a schedule for all of our meetings, so we don't start rambling. We need to stick to the topics that we need to get answered. Time is of an essence. We have a couple of different types of styles of meetings we use. Sometimes we'll just have a roundtable update where we're just we'll have a list of meeting minutes on a spreadsheet, and we'll just go down the list and say, okay, what's the update on these different topics? Other times we'll have presentation style meetings, which are more useful when we want to go through high density information like design reviews. We'll set up a presentation template and everyone will give a more technical update there. And then also we have shortened, more focused one-on-one meetings, we call them, where we just have like basically a few people working on one small project, and they'll get together and go through the really nitty-gritty details on the project.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is mainly scheduling. Set agenda ahead of time, put rough estimates of how long you want to do each thing, and then follow that, and don't let the discussion get off track. People like to derail conversations a lot.
Yes, so I think there's a good tip for the people working here online. So I heard that you have the first EV car ever made in the US, or in the US at the moment. Maybe you can give us a little tour around your workshop and maybe show us the car and show us what you're most proud about.
Yeah, so right now our EV car isn't quite finished yet. We got locked out for a while and we're still working on finishing it. So we actually have it covered up still, just because we're not ready for rollout yet. Our 2019 combustion car is behind us. This is our current car we have working in the shop. Go ahead and show you around. This is our. Hey, do you want to hold the camera?
Yeah. I got both.
So this is our SAA shop. We have, not only do we have Formula in here, we also have a Baja car over there. I don't know if there's much Baja over in Europe, but they do off-roading stuff, which is cool too. So
the car's gone.
Oh yeah, the car's gone. They went testing, but we share the space with them, which is pretty cool. We get to do a lot more collaboration there. Here's our In Disguise 2021 car. It's in progress. It's getting pretty close to being finished. And then we have a welding area over here.
Hard to see.
Yeah.
A lot of our shop, unlike a lot of the German shops, our shop is actually spread out over 7 different rooms in 4 different buildings. So this is the only part of the shop we can really show right now, but down the hall we have a machine shop, we have access to a composites lab, high voltage lab, and just some general workspaces.
Yeah, here's our perception cart. Like all the teams have perception carts, from what I've heard. We have our LiDAR camera and computer on there to go around and get test data. Might want to get low.
Closer.
Yeah, here.
Yep. And that's most of it. We have a lot of our stuff has kind of transitioned to people have taken some stuff home, and then a lot of the other work kind of happens over in the other little lab rooms.
Put it back down.
If we had a little more time, we would take you around the other buildings, but they take a little bit of time to walk through.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we still got a pretty good insight in how your workshop looks like, and there's a lot more to see. Yeah, thank you for showing us around, and I guess we're all pretty tuned how your 2021 car will turn out in the end on your rollout. So yeah, stay connected until the end. There will probably be some questions for you guys as well. So yeah, thank you and see you later.
Thank you.
Yeah, so quite interesting to see how they normally work.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, as saying that GFR has kind of multiple years of experience in remote working, so kind of working online, working different time zones is not new for them. But suddenly it certainly helped them during the last year. So when COVID hit the world, kind of almost other teams were faced with a completely new situation, and they kind of knew how to do, at least partly, I think. But now we're switching to Karlsruhe to talk a little bit about their team and how they faced the challenge of like team building in times of a global pandemic. So, guys from Karlsruhe, we should be connected. Can you hear us?
Hi, yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. So maybe you can introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Simon. I'm this year's co-team leader for the autonomous system, so that's the software of the driverless vehicle.
Yeah, and I'm Sasha. I'm the CTO, so the technical director of the driverless vehicle for this season.
Okay, cool. So in the past, Karlsruhe or KIT has always been one team, 3 cars, I guess. But what up now? So you're still planning to build 3 cars for the upcoming event season?
No, unfortunately, we're down to 2 cars now. We've dropped the combustion vehicle for now. The decision was already made in 2020. The main reason was that when we looked at the number of applicants and the number of team members we had for the next season, we realized that building 3 cars that could compete for the top position wasn't just possible with that number, at least not without completely burning out and destroying all team members. So we decided to build 2 cars only, and driverless and electric have a lot in common. So that's some synergies here.
So very sad. I was always really impressed with having 3 cars at the competition, especially in FSG. So yeah, unfortunately there were no events in summer 2020. So how did you keep up the spirit and the motivation in your one big team?
Well, first of all, it's not like there was no event at all. We were able to register and compete at Formula Student Online with our driverless vehicle, an event organized by East and Netherlands. And that really helped to keep the team for the driverless vehicle together, because we still had something to work for, some goal to work towards. But yeah, for the electric vehicle, we had quite a drop in team members who either dropped out completely or worked much less for the team, understandably. But yeah, so we learned from that and tried to improve things for this season. So when the second lockdown came in November in Germany, we were prepared much better. First of all, we figured out which kind of software was best for us. I think we've tried out all the communication software that was available there. WebEx, Teams, Zoom, you name it. And we've come down to 3 pieces of software that we still use, each for a different purpose. For big team meetings, we use Google Meet. The main advantage over something like Teams is that everyone can turn on the camera and they are visible like on a big screen for everyone. So seeing those friendly faces during the team meeting helps a lot to keep up some team spirit and not just talk towards some slide. For structured communication, we use Slack. The big advantage of Slack is that you can organize things much better. You can create channels for different purposes. You can have threads inside these channels. So it's a lot more structured, a lot more organized. And if you look for some information 5 weeks later, with Slack, you still actually have a chance to find it. And finally, we've also been using Discord like on some of the other teams. And perhaps the special thing we've done is we've completely rebuilt our physical working spaces inside Discord. So we have all the meeting rooms. We even have a kitchen and a toilet in Discord where people can meet and talk if they want to.
So what the people are doing in the toilets in Discord?
I haven't visited them, but sometimes we see 2 or 3 people on the toilet together. Whatever they're doing there, I wouldn't want to disturb them.
Yeah.
So in Discord, we also have daily stand-up meetings at 9 or 10 a.m. so that everyone knows what the rest of the team is working on and that you don't lose touch completely or work on something that someone else has already solved. I think that helps a lot to have these stand-ups.
Yeah. So yeah, Karlsruhe always seemed like a comparably big team, at least when I saw them in FSG. So I assume assembling such a huge team in times of a global pandemic is really difficult, right?
Yeah, it was really difficult. I think it was the biggest challenge like for the 2021 season because especially we didn't have a rollout at all for car racing because we couldn't finish our cars in time and due to Corona and everything else. And normally we present our car in front of 500 to 700 people, and a lot of students as well. And so it is our biggest recruiting event. And they get like a whole feeling what about Formula Student is about and how the car gonna look like after 6 months of developing and building. So therefore we decided to produce short video clips or like an introduction video for every university course. So like specified on mechanical engineering or electrical engineering or the mathematics or material science. So every student gets like a good view into the field which he or she can do while being at car racing. And then we sent those video clips to the professors and they showed it in the online lecture. And that's why we nearly got 100 applicants and then later on 60 new team members.
So very, very nice idea. I think it would be interesting for other teams as well. So maybe you can give us a little tour right now in your workshop and show us the current status of the car.
Yeah, of course. Like actually, we're standing straight in front of our driverless vehicle. Basically, it's the base vehicle of 2015, the electric, and it's modified the last 4 years now as a driverless vehicle. The new thing is about the 19 vehicle is the KSI P40P. That's our LiDAR. That's brand new. And then we also get new rims, basically whole carbon fiber rims. No foam inside. That's a pretty cool new feature of our car. We save some weight. And then additionally, due to our speed we can drive by now, since the development of 3 years of driverless vehicle, we decided to build new aerodynamic devices for our car. So it looks like something like this. But we also have a new rear wing, but the rear wing is still in production. As you can see here, that's one flap. It's still from the outside, it's not finished. But of course, we will show you one finished flap for the Kit 21D. That's finished, that's the first flap from the new aerodynamic devices. But what is really interesting about the driverless car is, of course, the heart of the autonomous system. As Simon shows you here, that's the car PC. It's an Intel i7 8-core 9700K. Basically, that's our main unit. And additionally, we will use some acceleration chips for some post-processing. Yeah.
greetings to every team who put a sticker on our PC hood.
Yeah, but then have a look around at the rest of our workshop. Coming through here, there are some spare parts on the left side here of the driverless vehicle. But then more interesting, of course, is the new mono production of the electric car, of the 21 electric car for car racing. As you can see, they are still building on it. We are not finished yet. As well, here you can see some cutting table, self-made. Yeah, that's how we work here at car racing. And yeah, going back to Simon and some nicer view over the whole workshop. If you turn to the right, you can see like some other parts and the most important thing from car racing.
Yeah, speaking about that, so we've seen it, the power fuel. So what's the storage life of power fuel? Do we need to help you to drink it before it spoils? Do we need to come over?
Yes, we urgently need help. If I look at this, it says 25th of November 2020, so it's already officially expired. But it still tastes as fantastic as always. We give it out to our team members at a discount price. But if you somehow get near Karlsruhe and want to get some grades or steal another parking lot sign, then feel free to come over.
We will do that maybe. So guys, thank you so much for showing us all of this. Thank you so much for joining. If there are any questions for Karlsruhe, please feel free to ask them in the Discord channel. And yeah, you guys can stay connected maybe, and then if there are questions, we can answer them later on. So,
yes,
see you
we will
then.
do so. See you.
Yeah, some nice beer. Here, sad that it's expired. But
Yeah, very sad. So this usually don't happen, I think, at their team.
probably not. Yeah, speaking about beer, maybe I think we had a lot of content right now. It's maybe time for a break. So yeah, grab a drink. If your ARWo support kit arrived already, some got lost over the time, but maybe grab a drink out of it. And yeah, so please ask questions on the Discord channel, so we can prepare them for the Q&A at the end. And yeah, we will be right back in about 8 or 9 minutes. And after that, FSG will be joining us for some questions. So stay tuned. Yeah, welcome back. I hope you had a nice short break and are ready to continue. So now, as announced, we have FSG joining us next. So we all know that the events which are planned this year are a bit of a smaller scale as usual, especially with fewer participants. And so we want to see how it actually was like for an event organizer. So we are now connected to Christian from FSG. Hi, can you hear us?
Hi. Yeah,
Perfect.
I can hear us.
Yeah, so maybe introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Christian. I'm working with FSG since the very beginning of Formula Student Driverless. And now I'm mainly responsible for dynamic disciplines in FS Driverless and event organization and stuff like that.
Yeah, cool. So what is the current state of the event? I think you're all monitoring the situation quite closely. Do you think this event will be able to be held in the summer?
Yeah, of course, we're monitoring the pandemic situation. And we hope that we can hold FSG as now it looks like. We guess it will relax a bit in the summer as it was last year. We hope so. And we plan for different scenarios. And however, that's sure it will not be like a normal FSG. For example, there won't be any spectators on the Hockenheimring. And most likely and sadly, there won't be the Male party as we know it. But we hope we still can have an FSG as normal as possible.
Yeah, sad about the Male party, but I guess we'll have to wait for next year then. Since there are only a few teams able to register for FSG, a lot of teams failed to register and are now on the waiting list. Is there any hope left for them to maybe take also part if the situation relaxed a bit in summer?
We would like to increase the number of teams if it is possible then due to a relaxed situation. However, there's a lot of stuff that requires long-term planning, both in infrastructure as well when it comes to time schedules, having enough judges for statics and so on. And that makes it difficult to increase because we cannot plan with more than like 2 weeks in advance, as we don't know how pandemic situation is going to be then. And for example, we already decided that we don't going to have the pit tent that year that we had all the recent years in front of the pit lane as well to accommodate additional teams. And the reason for that is that it's not possible to fully open the site if the weather is too windy, and thus it's not possible to have enough ventilation inside. And that's, for example, one of the issues why it's not possible to increase number of teams in short notice if it would be possible.
Yeah, quite sad, but I guess, well, there's nothing to be done to make it possible. So maybe they just have to wait for the next year afterwards. So only 10 team members are allowed at the FSG event site. I think scrutineering and event handling will be quite challenging during that time. Is there already a plan to structure the scrutineering differently, or maybe enable teams to take team members to take part from home, for example, in the statics?
Of course, we're working on issues like that as well. One is for scrutineering. We need to kind of reorganize it in order to reduce both contact time and number of involved people in scrutineering. And we're working on concepts how we can do that. And for statics, as we don't need to have the car for business plan presentation, the plan right now is to do it completely virtual, so that can, for example, somebody do from at home as well. And it might even be a few days before the actual competition already. Right now, we plan to have design and coast around the car. It's unusual, but most likely with reduced number of persons on both sides. We're looking into options to include team members that are not at the Hockenheimring from at home via video chat, maybe, if there's a certain expert. But I also can say from my own experience, it's possible to be in a competition and to reach good results, even with few team members. In my active time, I've been with 7 persons only at a competition once, and it worked quite well. So it depends on good planning, but if you already know that you only can have 10 people, you can plan that you can do the whole event with 10 people, I think.
Yes, I think so too. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, kind of a different topic now. As you maybe already heard in the in the content of the other teams, a lot of teams struggled with the motivation during summer. How was it for the FSG officials? Did they face the same problems?
Yeah, of course. We missed FSG being in Hockenheim, which is kind of big family meeting for all of us. We missed it quite a lot, and also the face-to-face planning meetings we normally have to plan the new season. We had a lot of Zoom meetings for planning, but as well for just meet each other. So, for example, we had a Zoom Christmas party for all volunteers, where we had time to chat with each other and not discussing Formula Student-related issues. We also have occasionally meetings with scrutineers, also including scrutineers from other competitions, just for having a beer together and exchange. So there we talk both about Formula Student-related topics and just random stuff. But we need to have at least some kind of physical FSG that year to keep the motivation up, to avoid that volunteers start other hobbies, and that sponsors search other events to sponsor. But I think that's the same problem for every team.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see that, even if the FSG officials face the same problems as we are, that, the events actually are very motivating for, spending all the time you spend in those teams. Yeah, so as everyone probably knows, the Formula Student is undergoing a big change in the future, especially Formula Student Germany. So in 2023, there will be a driverless cup with a combined categories. So there are rumors that some teams already built combined cars and that they might be able to compete in both disciplines at FSG. Is this true, or can you maybe tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, we had actually a few requests from asking to compete in 2 classes with 1 car, as we plan it for the future anyway. And we are working on that topic now. We had requests for that in the past, but with a full-scale Formula Student Germany, it was not possible due most likely schedule issues, as we had Formula Student Electric Statics during FSD Dynamics and vice versa, for example. But we see it as a chance now with reduced number of teams that we can incorporate it already and can get first experiences that we will need for the future and enable teams to get experiences. However, it's that year quite hard to do any planning in that advance. That's why we work at concepts, how it could look like. And if we come to the conclusion that it's going to be feasible and most important for us, fair to all teams, there will be an announcement in the next few weeks that all teams that want to do the same and participate with 1 car in both classes have the chance to do so. And however, we might have some limitations if it doesn't work out to have a fully working time schedule, that it might maybe not possible to do full statics in both classes, and therefore might not be possible to get full scoring in both classes. But we're working on those concepts now, and if we have a conclusion and concepts, there will be an announcement on our homepage so that everybody has a chance to take that option if it's possible in the end.
Yeah, that would be quite interesting. I have one last question for you. So, everyone who took the FSG quiz maybe know that there was a cat question. How mad is FSA about this, and is the alpaca thread at Hockenheim this summer?
Yeah, I think FSA is not that mad. If you have taken the quiz, you know there was a cat question as well. and that was a three-legged cat. And the cat in both quizzes was actually inspired by Coco, the cat of one of technical inspectors who is doing technical inspection both at FSG and at FSA. And that cat has actually fallen down from the floor a few years ago, and therefore has lost one leg. So yeah, for people who know Coco, that cat, it was kind of an insider, and yeah, so I think both have been happy with those questions. And yeah, regarding Fred, we're not sure yet if he can be with us at the Hockenheim Ring. That also depends on pandemic situation and possible travel restrictions that might be also valid for Alpaca-san. So we will see in August if he can make it or not.
Yes, so yeah, it's nice to see that both events are so close. That's nice to hear. Yeah, thank you, Christian, for joining us. I guess there will be most certainly some questions to you in the Q&A at the end. So yeah, we're glad to see you in the end. And yeah, thank you and see you later then.
Yeah, thanks for having me and see you later.
Yes, so it's quite interesting to see how an official event is trying to deal with the pandemic. And now we're going to switch to something else.
Yeah, right. So as we've heard, events are still on the way, and also the transitioning from Formula Student Germany to the DV Cup is also still on the way. And we will see how many other events will join in the future. But one thing is for sure, I think. So the interest in DV is growing steadily, and there will be more and more teams joining the DV class, I think. And now we've invited one of the newer DV teams, or probably one of the newest DV teams. Usually they are famous for their fast CV cars. They're currently on the 3rd place of the world ranking list. And I'm talking about FSUPV from Valencia. So guys, can you hear us?
Yeah, hi. Thank you for the good welcoming, both Niels and Sarah.
Hey, so yeah, maybe introduce yourself first.
Yeah, sure. My name is Victor Hernandez. This is my 3rd year in the FSUPV team. I started as an aerodynamics team member, and currently this is my 2nd year as a chief technical officer. And welcome everyone to the FSUPV team presentation.
Hi, my name is Oscar. This is my 2nd year in the team. Last year I was in the powertrain discipline, and then I moved to driverless, and this year I'm going to be the head.
Yeah, so in the past you've been building combustion cars, and if I understood it correctly, you were like intending to build a new combustion car for 2020 as well, right? But as we all know, 2020 brought some surprises for all of us. So what happened then?
Yeah, well, so we did start to manufacture our FSUPV 07 back in February 2020. And basically we had to stop that manufacturing period at the beginning of March when the lockdown started. So during the first weeks, we decided to put more emphasis on the static events. But once the 2020 events were canceled, we made the decision to retake some of the major design areas while preparing for Formula Student Online. Partly, this second design phase with more experienced members, and which finally lasted until last December, allowed us to take specific sections like powertrain or aero much further than we had initially. So after coming back to our workshop by the end of August, we have been testing with our 2019 prototype, which will be our driverless car for this season. So yeah, as a resume, our 2020 our 2020 prototype has not been built, but it has served as a baseline for our 2021 prototype, which is the FSUPV 08, and which is already in the manufacturing phase, and hopefully it will compete in 4 events this season.
Pretty cool. So had there been plans to build this kind of DV car before, or did the idea just came up when COVID hit you?
Yeah, indeed, there was a 2-year plan which started back in December 2019 with a set of new members, but the project had too little momentum, mainly due to the lack of human resources and theoretical background, which most teams will agree is usually the biggest step in members' motivation. So then we took advantage of the lockdown situation to reallocate members who already knew the procedures and working principles in our team. and who were more familiar with with facing bigger tasks and conducting research. And also, since they were new to the autonomous systems subteam, we dedicated a solid amount of time to build the theoretical foundation before starting to work on setting our baseline concept. And finally, by the end of summer, we opened as many positions as we could manage for the driverless subteam. And besides, this recruitment was quite profitable, since by then we had already developed a formation plan so that new members could be providing new developments to the team from the very beginning since they joined us.
So, in addition to all the challenges like COVID put on you, you were faced with the huge challenge of building your first DV car. So, how did you manage to do that and really manage the complexity, and what resources helped you in the beginning when you started?
Well, setting up a driverless project is quite challenging since you won't probably have that technical knowledge. However, alumni are always there trying to help us. The first step that we took was to start making our research about how to make a driverless Formula Student car. For this, we read some online papers available, allowing us to get the base idea of the system. Then we decided to rely on our programming basis with MATLAB, Simulink, and our experience with IPG CarMaker. This software helped us to develop our algorithms and then simulate them. Finally, another important resource that we have since the first day was LiDAR and camera data from other teams, which allow us to test our codes and without having physically the sensors.
Okay, so very cool. So switching to DV, I think will be somewhat mandatory in the future, especially when you want to join FSG, and there are many more teams like doing this kind of switch in the next couple of years. Maybe you can give a little bit of advice to all those teams who will be switching to DV, something you would like to have to know when you started.
Yeah, of course. The very best advice that we can give to those teams is to put a lot of effort and work. It will be hard at the beginning, but it will improve very soon. Also, always try to go for initial and functional solutions because sometimes we see other experienced team implementations and we want to imit them. But this is a mistake if the knowledge is not enough. Following this line, working with known softwares will make easier the process, enjoying more what you're doing. So that's all.
Okay, thank you. I think it will be interesting, or at least helpful for our teams. And now, of course, we are eager to see the car. So maybe you could give us a little bit of a tour around the shop and the car.
Sure, it's not as big as other teams, but we will try to show you as much as possible. So firstly, our prototype, covering a bit of the sensors that we have decided to mount. We decided to go for the Z2 camera for the visual perception pipeline. Also, we decided to take out most of the aerodynamic devices of the prototype. And regarding the lidar, we established contact with Velodyne, and finally, through collaboration, we are mounting our VLP16 lidar, which most teams started with. So now, covering a bit of our workshop, we will show you around our small machining zone with lathe and the drill. Also, here we have some people working as well. The welding area for some of the parts that we are welding here, and also our self-developed engine dyno where we perform most of the calibration currently. And the new prototype, the FSUP08, already in the manufacturing phase. And yeah, moving on to the electronics zone, here we have the manufacturing of the wiring harness, and yeah, the welding zone for the boards. And yeah, basically this is most of our workshop. We hope you have enjoyed this as much as we are, and thank you for inviting us.
So yeah, thank you. Looks awesome. Thank you so much for showing us. I think we're all really looking forward to see more CV cars run in DV mode on track. So guys, thank you for showing us, and also if there are questions for you, please stay connected, and then maybe we can let you answer them later in the Q&A session.
Sure, thank you. Bye.
See you then. So a little bit smaller probably than the Augsburg workshop, I think.
But still quite a nice workshop, to be honest.
I wonder what hell was breaking loose when they started dyno in there.
Yeah. So yeah, as you already saw, many teams are trying to transit to DV cars, but there are already a lot of teams building driverless cars, and some of them are already facing the challenge which will be kind of mandatory in 2023. So building a combined car, so compete in the driverless and the electric competition. Yeah, by chance, I know that the e-gnition Hamburg team is doing exactly this. So let's hop over the River Elbe to the south of Hamburg. Hi guys, can you hear us?
Hi, good evening. We can hear us. I hope you can hear us as well.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, so maybe introduce yourself at the beginning as well. So.
Yes, thank you. This is Noah. My name is Yannick. We were responsible for the car you can see behind us, the EGN20, our first, as you mentioned, combined car. Noah was one of the technical directors, and I was the team captain. So that's probably why we are sitting here today.
Yes, nice that you joined us. Maybe tell us a bit about your big plans. What were your big plans for 2020?
Sure. As you mentioned, we are quite experienced, so we were quite experienced with building driverless cars, as we are doing it since 2017. The only difference was that we were always building two cars, so one new car for the electric category and one old car, which we rebuilt and put in all the driverless features for the driverless category. But then in 2020, we decided to build, as you can see and as you heard, only one car for both categories. And we tried to not to have any compromises regarding the performance in any of the two categories, and tried to do that with having partly modular and partly built-in solutions, as one, for example, you can see in the background already. But we will come to this a bit later, I guess.
Yes, it seems like a lot of extra effort to actually build a car, which could be compatible in both disciplines. Why did you face this extra effort, even though there was no real event which made it possible for you to compete as a combined car?
Yeah, for sure, it was not an easy decision, and I remember all the long discussions with a lot of alumni and active team members as we tried to figure out what would be the right way to choose for the future. But at the end, we came up with a lot of good reasons, organizationally and technically, to build this one combined car. Organizationally, the main point was that we've experienced that in the past years with having two cars, it was always quite difficult to motivate, especially the new team members, to work on the driverless car. As I said, it was always an old car, and so they kind of had to choose working on an old car and rebuild it for a driverless car, or working on their own new development solutions for the new electric car. And obviously, they were always a bit more connected, emotionally bond to the electric car. But as driverless has steadily grown, as well as in the Formula Student whole in the circus, as well as in our team, for our identity, it became more important with the years, and our competitiveness and our success became year by year even more important in the driverless category. We wanted to put the focus of the whole team more onto the driverless category. So with building only one car, we tried to get every team member involved in both categories in the same way, with building only one car. And I guess we've achieved that quite well. And technically, I guess Noah can tell you a bit more.
Sure. Thank you, Yannick. Yeah, of course, we also had many technical discussions. So that was not the outcome of the organization, final result. Because we also see like a big potential in building a combined vehicle, since as Yannick told you, building a new driverless car does not mean building a new car from scratch. It means building a driverless system on top of an existing electrical system, in our case, which also means if you try to do all your concept work of the new electric vehicle, you also have to consider the space and the additional parts that is needed if you want to compete in the driverless competition in the future. So to empower maybe this this fact, if you have a look at the situation of Formula Student Germany in 2019, you could also see that basically all the top teams of the driverless category raced with a fully equipped race car, so with aerodynamic package and definitely with like a good weight and weight distribution. And if you leave out one of those components, then you'll definitely have a loss of performance. So including driverless parts is definitely a hard challenge, but it's necessary in order to keep up with the pace of the driverless class.
Yes, so it seems that you actually thought a lot about the decision of building a combined car. You already mentioned the advantages of combining this. What are the disadvantages, and how did you make sure that the car was still compatible in the normal EV class?
Well, definitely one of the most challenges of the last year was keeping that compatibility, which means if you have a look at Formula Student, you see that basically everything is about lightweight. So the lighter you are, the faster you'll be. So adding a driverless system on top definitely means adding some weight, and this is an impact on your performance. So what we tried to implement basically every driverless component which does not have a significant impact on the performance. And if this was not possible, we tried to find the best modular solution. For example, if you look at our front wings, so there are two front wings for this car, one at the back and one is mounted to the car. We tried to see how the impact of the LiDAR sensors is on our aerodynamic performance, but still we wanted to improve on our aerodynamic package as a whole aerodynamic system, and have like another high performance front wing for the use of the car with the driver. On other sides, we were also able to integrate very smartly. So if you have a look at our EBS system, so emergency brake system, there we designed our brake cylinders new this year, which results in an brake cylinder where we can implement the pneumatic chamber in order to actuate the emergency brake system without adding any new weight compared to last year's version of it. And also, of course, we had pretty hard work to do to implement all the different electrical additions that a driverless car needs in order to implement it with the existing wiring harness of the electric vehicle. So many parts that we need to consider, but I guess we managed it quite well so that we have a car which is really competitive in the EV category and also still able to drive autonomously with just changing some parts.
Yes, it's kind of very interesting to hear about your approaches. Maybe you can show us some highlights you just talked about, maybe some modular parts which you use on your car.
Sure, I guess the most prominent one you can see in the back. So it's definitely another front wing that can just be changed with unscrewing 4 screws. Other ones, for example, are our steering wheel. So there we did basically all we can to implement the actuation of the driverless car so that it can steer and drive autonomously in the steering wheel. which is of course like a very good solution for a combined car because it's pretty light, I guess. And otherwise, we are still able to just change steering wheels and drive our EV car. And of course, there are also like other smaller adaptations that are necessary. For example, in order to use our camera system, we have like a small version of it that can be fitted to the main hoop and then also be just exchanged very quickly.
Yeah, thank you for showing us those nice features. So the car is almost done. What are you doing right now?
Yeah, so right now, basically, we are working kind of on two projects. One, and this is the main part of the active team at the moment, we are already developing some solutions for the EGN22 car, so for even next summer. As we have now some more time for that, they can develop or think about some more complex problems, more complex challenges, develop something new, a new monocoque, a new suspension system, things like this. We usually don't have time for in a normal season. And the other part is working on the N20, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. So we try to use the time very wisely and try to test every part that is integrated in the car to keep up with our need of dependability. And right now we are preparing for the test season. So we are checking some or wiring some last sensors and of course making every last checkup for a new accumulator, because we are also quite happy that we were able to develop a new battery management system last year. So also, always quite exciting if you change the heart of an electric race car.
Yes, so thank you for sharing. We're all pretty tuned how the car will perform as a combined car and whether it's compatible in both classes. Yeah, thank you both for sharing this with us. Stay until the end so you can answer some questions in the Q&A session. And see you later then.
Bye, thanks.
Yes, so quite interesting to see their approaches, quite hardware related, but...
Right. So the EGN team or e-gnition has always been kind of focusing a lot on the hardware side of the project and constructing like a fully integrated DV car, even if it's not necessary for this year, but certainly will be necessary in the couple of coming years. So other teams have delayed this process a little bit longer, like building a combined car and focus more on making the DV cars faster actually. And one of the most experienced teams in the FSD community and most experienced teams in building fast driverless cars is of course AMZ from Zurich. So we have them connected right now. Can you hear us, guys?
Yeah, indeed, yes, we can hear you just fine. Good evening from Zurich and or good morning wherever you're watching us right now. First of all, I really want to thank you guys that you're organizing this. I think it's a great opportunity for the community to stay in touch. I'm Niklas. I'm the former CTO of our driverless team from last season, and with me it's Ben joining me tonight. He's our current COO.
Yeah, thank you guys. So after your very successful season last year in 2019, I think you had big plans for 2020. What were you intending to do?
Obviously, we wanted to continue exactly where we left off in Hockenheim 2019, and we actually did start merging our EV and DV teams, at least like on an organizational level. That is, we combined our departments for operations and also for external relations. And then on the driverless side, we slightly increased our team size. And like back in fall 2019, our biggest problem, like even before COVID, was actually to find like suitable team or times for the entire team to set up meetings. Because back then we had people in Central Europe, in California, as well as in Singapore, so basically on the exact opposites of the globes. We also aimed at investing a lot into the FSD community back then. So we gave talks at several Formula Student or FSAE conferences. We at other schools or universities. We also went to ARWo, of course. And what we did is we packed like a lot of our first-year team members and kind of encouraged them to really present their future team work packages. And I would also really encourage everybody else to do the same, like just grab also your new joiners and do this weekend trip to Hamburg next year. On the technical level, we saw that many other teams are using the same base vehicle for several years, and they always had kind of this advantage that they don't need to reintegrate or like start from scratch with the integration of the driverless hardware. So we decided that we wanted to use the same vehicle for 2020 that we also used for 2019, and then focus on software development. Yeah, as it turned out, that was a decision that came in very handy because of local lockdowns. Yeah, so mostly the plan was to focus on software development.
Okay. Yeah, due to the lockdown situation, the whole time frame for most of the Formula Student teams changed quite a bit. So effectively, you've got like 2 seasons if you're working on only software and simulation. So did this lead to any major improvements or new features of the car which we will see in 2021?
Definitely. But first, I would say that actually our timeline in 2020 didn't, I think, get affected that much, I think, compared to many other teams. So, I mean, at the beginning of 2020, of course, we were also in lockdown in Switzerland. But then, as Nicholas just said, we decided to take the 2019 driverless car, right, with all the hardware already incorporated. So there was not much hardware work to be done. And then afterwards, though, in the summer, we had a lot of time testing. This was because also in Switzerland, the regulations regarding COVID were less restrictive than many other countries. So we had basically a normal testing season during the summer. We would go testing maybe twice a week or sometimes even 3 times a week. And I mean, this was definitely really good for performance because we were able to test all the pipelines that we were able to implement before. And in the end, I think we have been able to tune, for example, controllers very nicely. And then post-season, we had 2 projects going on regarding perception. For our perception pipeline, and the projects were about including more machine learning in the perception pipelines, and it looked quite promising. And one of the plans for 2021 is also integrating these. Regarding hardware, we had little changes in 2020. We added 1 camera to our sensor system, and we swapped our Velodyne lidars to Hesai lidars. And then, of course, now the new team has really cool plans, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all of them integrated into the car.
Okay, so speaking about more machine learning, I think AMZ has really leading the way in publishing scientific literature about Formula Student Driverless. So especially in the last year, did this really help to get more support from the university and professors, or what is your benefit in using this approach and being so scientific in the Formula Student Driverless?
So first, I mean, it's not an approach that we are really planning or something. It's more of a byproduct of the work of our team members. So having publications, how the graduate studies work at ETH, because most of our members are actually master students, is that we have semester projects. And everybody can do his semester project at AMZ or with together with us. And that's the way that our members actually can get credits from doing AMZ work. This is really nice, right? They can get credits, otherwise they wouldn't get any. And then also if they're very successful and that there's novel things in their work, they can also maybe publish the paper, basically, that results from the semester project. But then it's a two-edged sword because for the competition, you want to have robustness, right? The semester project is more about trying something novel. But if you want to win a competition, you want to have something working 99% of the time, or even more. So yeah, that's about the publications that we have.
Yeah, speaking of publishing things, I know that there is a very special collaboration project between AMZ, Munich Motorsport, and Fast Forest. And I'm speaking about ARWo. And I've heard ARWo was originally founded at a past ARWo, right? Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, exactly. I'm really glad that you're mentioning ARWo. So maybe for those who've been involved in the FSD community for a bit longer already, they might remember that there was this project originally from Munich Motorsport about a data exchange platform in the community. And then last year at ARWo, David from Munich Motorsport and Michael from Fast Forest and Deggendorf and I were sitting together with several other teams, and we were kind of rediscussing the pros and cons of the current approach. And then since the last ARWo, we were working on setting up or relaunching a new version of FSOCO, and actually launched it last August at the FSG Academy in Hockenheim. Yeah, and as a fun fact, like the three of us, we've only met once physically. It was at ARWo. And since then, we just did everything digitally. So it was like the perfect project for the current Corona times. Yeah, but back to the topic. So FSOCO, if you don't know it yet, it's kind of this collaborative data set for vision-based cone detection systems. And it contains bounding boxes and also panoptic segmentation masks. And the idea is really that like teams, they can share their labels, and then and in return, they gain access to the labels by other teams. So it's like sharing is caring, as you also call it at ARWo. And the great thing is that we also we can also support first-year teams. So for example, we can source raw data from more experienced teams like AMZ or also car or racing, and then we can redistribute those images to new joiners for label them. Yeah, so since we launched FSOCO 6 months ago, the three of us, we reviewed thousands of images probably. And as of now, we have contributors on 4 different continents, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, we're closing on the next milestone on having 100,000 bounding boxes and 10,000 segmentation masks. But yeah, if you want to know more about this, make sure to check out our website. It's fsoco-dataset.com. And yeah, a bit of ads. So we're always looking for new teams to join us and also for people to help us review data to speed up everything. And make sure to drop us a message or also reach out to us on Discord later tonight. Yeah,
I think this is the kind of advertising we need here, so that's fine. So I see you're currently not in the workshop. So is there, or probably in your office, I think, is there any particular reason for it? So, and what could we see if we could see in your workshop?
So I think after seeing all these amazing workshops and cars, I think it would have been really cool if we could also show our car in our workshop. So basically why we decided to stay in the office is, so one point is we have only recently moved to a new workshop and we are still in the process of setting up everything really nicely. And then also the ventilation system can be loud and the acoustics would be bad. Yeah, these are the reasons. But what you would see is, so our car is in the driving condition, but currently we are undergoing some maintenance work. So the car that we're using, Pilatus, it's actually quite old. It's 4 years old. It has been developed 2017 by the EV team. And yeah, it needs some maintenance. So for example, during testing last season, one of our wishbones broke. So yeah, we replaced that, but now we are replacing all the structural things that are demanded a lot. We are also maintaining the suspension system. We are doing some updates in our computer box at the moment, or computer at the moment. So yeah, this is what you would see. Also, the wiring harness gets some updates. Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys so much for all the insights and telling us about your project. So also, if there are questions for AMZ, feel free to ask them in the Discord, and maybe you can stay connected, and we can see us later and ask some questions.
Cool. Talk later.
Yeah. Bye bye. So yeah, there's one more thing talking of advertising, which is important. So AMZ is also managing a repository for DV resources, especially for beginners. So if you want to have a look. On Google you can type in FSD resources and then you can find a link to a GitHub repository which contains scientific datasets, publications, recordings, and also some recorded talks from previous ARWos. So you can get a sense of and feeling what has been done at the ARWos in the past, right?
Yes, so maybe see a bit how the spirit is normally at the ARWo in Hamburg. So now another thing concerning Discord. So we explained the Discord server earlier. The link is in the video description. So or in the description, or shown in the video right now. So get connected and join in the server. And if you join, please also add your team name to your Discord name. And the server will be open for longer than today. So after this live stream, we will open the chats, so not only the writing chats, but also you can talk to other teams, and it's supposed to be used for connection to other teams. So you can talk to people who are actually working on the same topic as you are, and maybe talk about the difficulties you face and how they maybe manage them. So check it out and get connected.
Yeah, so these were the teams we were connecting to. And right now, we kind of will prepare the Q&A session a little bit and also give you the chance to have a little break. So we're taking another short break, so you can grab yourself a drink or something to eat. And then we will be right back, and then we will answer the questions from Discord. So we will see you in 8 minutes.
Yeah, welcome back. I hope you had a quick and nice break. So let's jump right into the Q&A session, I guess. And
yeah, right. So first we have Stax from Augsburg. There were a few questions for you guys. So first from Sasha from Car Racing. Where did you get the car racing parking sign, which we could see in the workshop behind the car, I think?
That's a good question, but sadly I can't really remember when we got it, because I think it was before I started being at the team. So it has to be around 3 years ago or even more when we got the sign.
Okay, so two more questions from Elephant Racing Bayreuth about your cameras. So first from Tobias, are the lenses already mounted to the cameras? They look pretty small and short. So even it's interesting compared to our huge lenses. So a focal length of 8mm for 1-inch sensor. What's the focal length and the field of view of your cameras and sensors?
Yeah, exactly. So when we did the video previously, the lenses were already mounted. So the lenses are really that small. The focal length was 4mm, and with this you obtain a field of view horizontally of about 84 degrees, which is just sufficiently for the detection of the cones, even in corners. I've written down the details about the lens manufacturer. I don't know why we should have used larger lenses. I also saw larger lenses in the AMZ vehicle 2019, but we are just fine with these lenses.
Yeah. Also, second question, do you have any experience problems on overheating with the Basler cameras?
So we didn't experience any overheating. It was also when the vehicle was standstill, so no airflow for maybe around 30 minutes. The vehicle was static. Even then, we didn't experience any overheating.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for answering those questions. I think we've got some more questions for other teams as well.
Yeah, so let's hop to Norway. So we have a couple of questions for you guys. So from a Hugit, I have no idea how to spell that or say that, but he's asking, these guys are going without cameras, bold. So are you actually going without cameras, or does it work?
I guess maybe it's bold. But last year we had a dual camera setup with a dual LiDAR setup, and this year we're basically simplifying our sensor suite quite a lot and just going LiDAR. It's basically to streamline the teamwork, but also in preparation for the merge in 2022, where we're seeing we have to focus on one type of sensor. So it's kind of getting back to understanding the strengths of LiDAR and getting used to that. Also, we're doing or have been doing experiments with color detection from LiDAR. So we know that that's possible, and looking more into that.
So for everyone who's interested in that, so it's obviously possible to have a driverless car without a camera. And another question also about your LiDAR. So Tobias from ARWo asked, I thought he thought he looked at every LiDAR available. He has never seen your model. It looks quite large. What's the manufacturer of your LiDAR?
It's a Hesai LiDAR. It is quite large. It is the Pandor 40.
Yes. So thank you for sharing this with us. So for Tobias, he now knows what LiDARs are still out there, which he probably didn't find. So
great.
Thank you for sharing this, and I guess we hop straight to the next one.
Yes. Next one should be Car Racing, Karlsruhe. There we go. So 2 questions about your LiDARs. First from Nico from Starkstrom. How did you derive the mounting height of the LiDAR sensor in the front? Under which assumptions do you consider it optimal?
We have basically two options. One would be directly under the main wall hoop, but in our case that wasn't really possible for space reasons. If you put the cameras there as well, there's just isn't enough space for quite a big LiDAR, as you just noticed. So it has to be on the front, and the exact height we try to do it as in two ways. Theoretically, we use some MATLAB script to determine how many layers would hit a cone at which distance, and we also did it experimentally, just put it at different heights and look at the point cloud, what looks better, and both set as high as possible. So we put it to a maximum of 50 centimeters that is allowed in the template, as close to that as possible.
Okay, thank you. So next question is from Leon from Get Racing. Does anyone except for AMZ use LiDAR for color detection of the cones? Do you use filter and look for a specific pattern, or do you use a neural network for that?
Yeah, we've tried it out as well last year. We used a support vector machine for that. It worked quite reliably until about a distance of 10 meters, and it worked somewhat to 20 meters. So that's not really enough for what we want to have for autocross. We want to see much further to plan our trajectory ahead. So we might be using it as a fallback when the camera fails, or as an additional factor for robustness, but not as a main color detection.
Okay, and another question from Jan from Get Racing. I'm interested in your computing setup. How do you manage cooling? We expected a normal PC fans to break relatively quickly due to vibrations. Also, what CPU cooler is used there? It looks like it has a relatively low profile. Does it manage to cool the CPU?
Yeah, first about the breaking. We've been using this since April 2019. So for the whole 2019 competition season, we used this cooler and it didn't break. So I guess it's robust enough, but it's nothing special. It's really just standard hardware. I can't name you the exact model. I tried looking up, but didn't find information right away. But it should be something off the shelf, not something specifically manufactured for us. And for the heat, the CPU can get about 140 watts maximum, a bit less than 100 in average, and it's able to cool that without any heat throttling, so it's sufficient.
Okay, so thank you guys for answering those questions. And yeah, I think now we're already up to the next team.
Yes. So yeah, back over the River Elbe to e-gnition. So I have a question from Tobias from Elephant Racing. He's asking where all your electronic parts, PC, the rest, and so on, are. So are they inside the car?
Yeah. Mainly all our parts are inside the car, of course. But since there are a lot of parts to add, we basically use every space we find. So also underneath the covers of the side diffusers, we have some antennas, and on the other side, our board computer with the fuse board. But mainly all our PCBs are, main part of our electronic system is behind the firewall. So yeah, there's the accumulator, the motor controller, and some EBS PCBs, the driverless computing unit, etc.
All right. So Robert is asking about your software development. So you talked a lot about the hardware development. What happened in the software this season?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there also a lot happened. So back in October 2019, then we had to analyze our software system very harshly. So we had some bigger problems with our vision. Therefore, we worked a lot on the perception pipeline, which was quite successful. So over the last season, we managed to increase our vision range to a distance where it does not disturb the rest of our car behavior. And we also did a lot of testing for our Stanley controller in order to optimize some parameters. But this is still done on the old driverless car. So we are quite excited how the new one will perform on track. And I guess then the software department also has some new features that it's needs to test. So I guess quite exciting.
Yes, yeah, thank you both. And I guess we go right next to the...
Yes, right. So next up, questions for AMZ. So Sebastian from Elephant Racing asked, how do you deal with cones that appear in several camera images? And do you pay attention to cones that are cut off at the edge of the image?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question, because exactly what we faced at FSG, you know, like one of these problems that only come up at an event. So what we had is like we had two mono cameras, and one was facing right, one was facing left. And what we had the problem was that in the middle, those cones were observed by both cameras. But then there was like, so the left camera had like a worse estimate for the ones on the right, and the right camera has a worse estimate for the ones on the left. So what we did in the end is we kind of told the right camera, you're not allowed to see any cones which are on the left. And we told the left camera you're not allowed to see any cones which are on the far right. So you could just do that, have some kind of smaller FOV to make sure that you really don't have any overlap. Or you could also just have some kind of filtering where you basically combine the observations from both cameras. That would work as well. Right, and then the second question, whether we pay attention to cones that are truncated. Yeah, we do. So we also label them, but we also tag them. So like our neural network, like it should know it's a truncated cone. And actually, if you use a FSOCO dataset, you will have the same advantage. So we also tag truncated cones in there.
Awesome. So another question from Willy. Easy and robust sensor fusion methods for localization for first-year teams. Do you have any advice or tips?
I would say the easiest way to fuse the LiDAR point clouds in the camera images is the following way. So basically, I would recommend going for a 2D detection, cone detection system to detect cones in the images. And then the next step I'd say to do is to find the transformation, the extrinsic transformation between the camera and the LiDAR that you have. So there are several methods to do it. You can calibrate the sensors using, for example, some kind of a target, or there are also manual ways to calibrate the sensors. And then afterwards, what you can do is then you can project the points of the LiDAR onto the image, and then you can basically filter the points that fall into the bounding boxes that were detected by the 2D detection system to find the additional depth information that you need, additional to the cone type information that you get from the network.
Yeah, and then maybe because it's also aimed towards localization, any type of SLAM should be able to handle this problem.
Okay, so then another question which was already answered by Kit, but maybe you have something to add. So Nico was asking, how did you derive the mounting height of the LiDAR sensor? So is there anything you want to add?
So one thing I would add is it's beneficial to have the LiDAR higher, in my opinion, because one of the problems that we're facing with the LiDAR on the front wing is that you will have occlusion. Basically, just because of the shadow of the cone, you'll not be able to detect the cones behind that cone that was nearby. And then, if you want to do more analysis, you can also use a tool like Blender. There's actually something called Blender, and there you can also implement the version of the LiDAR that you have, and there you can do scans with the LiDAR that you have, and basically see how many points fall onto the objects that you arrange in this 3D modeling software called Blender. Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe don't forget about the bumps at the racetrack, in particular the infamous one in Hockenheim. So if you have a LiDAR very close on the bottom, you might also run into what's it called, like into problems with truncate or like cones which you don't see behind the bump.
Yeah, I know the kind of problem, running blind at the bump in Hockenheim for a couple of meters at least. So thank you guys for answering those questions. And now we're switching right next to FSUP to Valencia. So Niels is asking, most of us only know how to work with EV vehicles and thus only electric driverless vehicles. What are the particular challenges in designing and getting a driverless combustion car to work?
Yeah, so yeah, indeed, one of the biggest challenges is controlling this physical delay that is associated with the internal combustion engine. In an electric vehicle, you're just sending a signal to your wheel motors, while in a combustion car, you have to account for that delay in the input to the throttle signal with regards to how the vehicle will react. And something that we found particularly complicated and complex in simulation is the interaction between the throttle actuation and the brake actuation, because again, in most electric vehicles, you will be braking with the same motor that you're accelerating with. But in our case, we are actuating firstly on the throttle and then on the brake. And this intersection between both actuation lines is quite complex. So that is why we decided to go one step further in choosing our simulation tool, which is IPG CarMaker right now. And there we have implemented several models in Simulink and so on, where we can find the best interaction between these two actuator setups. Yes. So also, sorry, maybe one of the ways in which we are facing this control of the throttle is by having a good engine calibration in our setup. Sorry, which we are doing here at our workshop, as we showed before. And yeah, maybe most teams should spend a bit more time doing this more precise calibration of the engine, and spend some more time testing their calibration data.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for answering this question. And then I think we're done for today. So we've had, quite a lot of teams connected. We have, answered some questions. And there's really one thing left for today. And this is really to thank all the people that contributed to this event. And let's start with one of the most important, and the sponsors. So sponsors are important for all events. Sponsors are very important in the Formula Student, of course. And to start up with Volkswagen, and Volkswagen really supported the ARWo from the beginning on, and did it in the last couple of years and continues to do so, and enables us really to do those kind of events. So thank you to Volkswagen. And in addition, this year there's another company, it's called Medialooks, and Medialooks provided video transport for us. So we used their software, Medialooks Video Transport, to really connect all the guests from all over, not only Europe, but all over the world, basically, to our production. And it was really helpful. Thank you for the software at Medialooks. And additionally, we need to thank the Technical University of Hamburg for hosting all of this event, and of course the Good Life Company for providing their office spaces for us as our little kind of studio.
Yes, and also thank you to all the teams who joined us tonight and filled this event with content. So thank you, and also everyone who helped organizing this whole event. So the Orga team of the ARWo, thank you. So as we said before, join in the Discord server to stay in touch and to keep up the contact with other teams.
Right. So there is only one thing left, to say goodbye, and hopefully we will see you all at the events in summer.